Hey guys, Paul here with Patek. In this video we're going to have a little bit of fun. Going to show you my latest prototype number 2 for a DIY turntable. I painted it green, so we're going to do green screen, then we're going to dump the green screen into Camtasia Studio 9. I'm going to show you how to make your products look as if they're spinning around in mid-air, and you won't have to know a thing about Adobe After Effects, any heavy-duty coding, real simple. Let's get to it. Okay guys, here we go. Here's the setup. This is what you're going to need to make this effect work. And what you've got here is a DIY turntable. And I'm going to go through all the parts. I'll show you a close-up of how to put it together yourself. And we're not talking an expensive project. Piece of plywood with a square hole in the middle of it so that it fits this little key here, which goes down into a power window motor from a car, which I got from Princess Auto here in Canada for 10 bucks. You can go to any wrecker and get a used power window motor. Really straightforward stuff. So the other thing that I have here is, this is the Lazy Susan bearing race that you saw in a previous video when I was talking about my new PC build. This thing's 5 bucks at Home Depot. Okay, and that is basically sitting on a piece of plywood about 12 by 12, and then bolted to two 2x4s. Power window motor goes up underneath, and if I can get this thing on here, there we go. Next thing you'll need is a little motor controller, and once you have the motor controller hooked up, you'll be able to rotate your products and vary the speed and rotate products that are 50 pounds or more. But the trick is, if you just took the power window motor and ran it to a battery, you might get it to work at 60 RPM, which is useless. Okay, so the trick is this little motor controller here. You're going to need a 12-volt power pack, which you can get from a Chinese reseller. I'll give you the link. It's 12-volt, 5 amps. You're going to need the motor controller, and I would say everything, like if I just quickly run down the parts, the power pack is 15 bucks. Motor controller was, I think, $8.95. And 10 bucks for the power window motor, a little bit of elbow grease to do the carpentry work to build the turntable, a can of green paint, and to be all honest with you, in all honesty, this is not finished yet. One thing that I've noticed that's causing me a little bit of grief when I'm pulling my key with the green screen is the rough surface of the plywood. So I've got a couple of options, right? Well, there's lots of options. I could sand this down and use some drywall, whatever, and get it super smooth, or I can just get a piece of pine or some other wood that's completely flat. Second mistake I made was using gloss paint, okay? But it works. I mean, you'll see in the results that in the videos that this thing works, and it works really well. The trick is that you're shooting at 1080p to do your green screen. And so hence this video is being shot on Nikon D3300 at 1080p, and you could probably gain the same effect using Logitech webcam if that's all you have. Just make sure you're shooting at 30 frames per second. Okay, I tried it at 15, it doesn't work. It's just not enough megabits per second going through the signal. So put it all together, turn the motor controller on. Once it's turning, then I can simply turn down the speed. I'm getting it down to about probably 2 or 3 RPMs per minute, which is really all I need. Combine that, take the green screen into Camtasia Studio 9, put some transitions on it, and you've got a really slick effect. It's easy to do. So let's go over to the bench. I'll pull this thing apart. I'll show you all the parts you need, how you're going to put it together. And the one nice thing about the electricals on it, you don't have to be an electrician or electrical genius, because the motor controller itself has a schematic right on it, and we'll look at that on the bench. We'll take a close-up, and once we're finished, we'll jump into Camtasia. I'll show you how I put it all together. I'll show you the exact transition that I'm using, and then you'll be off to the races. How far you go with it will be completely up to you. Okay, let's get over the bench. We'll take a close-up look. Okay, so here we are, one green screen turntable, which is essentially a piece of plywood that fits onto a key, and that piece of plywood is roughly 16 inches from side to side. Okay, so now, as you can see, just a simple piece of plywood. Let's get that out of the way. And then what you've got here is a 3/8 socket, and I have put a little piece of key stock. And this key stock, let's just give you the, I think it was, yeah, it's a 1/2 inch. I started with a 1/2 inch key stock, and then at the other end I had to take it down to about 5/16 to get it to fit into the back end of a 3/8 inch socket. And that's what connects the window motor to the turntable. So pretty simple stuff. And then you've got this little $8 or $5 bearing race that I got from Home Depot in the kitchen department. And then if we look underneath, you got two pieces of 2x4 and a piece of plywood. And the plywood's got a hole drilled through the center of it. So if I flip it over like so, you're looking at 12 inches by 12 inches, so 12 by 12. And what you can see here is a simple power window motor. So I don't want you to think there's anything tricky or heavy duty going on here. So the power window motor, I just took 2 wires, soldered them here, used some heat shrink tubing, you know, to keep things weatherproof. And this part of the drive comes out. So what I had was, there's like a plastic gear on the inside of this, and I found that I took a 12-point socket and just forced it over top of it. It's nice and tight, it can't come off. And then this just fits back down like so. This goes in the hole like so. Line up the holes there, put your screws back in like so, and that's really the whole rig. Okay, so let's take this guy, get the screws started. We'll put this back together like so. Just don't tighten them down too much. You don't want to crack the plastic on the housing like that. And then you've got your 2 wires exposed, and okay, key stock goes in here like so, turntable goes on like so. Okay, let's take a look at the wiring. Okay, so let's go over the wiring here. You're going to need a 12 volt 5 amp adapter. There's your 120 volt plug there. At the other end, you're going to need one of these little adapters to plug into the end here. I bought a bag of them from a Chinese reseller. I think they were like $5 or $8, something like that. So very inexpensive. You get a whole bag of them. Okay, so that adapter goes to the black and the red wire here. And then if we follow this around, the black wire is coming to the black wire on the motor controller. All right, the red wire, which is this guy here, follow it around, it's going to the red wire on the motor controller. This black lead also going to that red wire. You follow this around, it's going to the black, the white lead on the power window motor, and then the blue wire is simply coming around here, and it's going to the power lead on the power window motor. And that's the whole setup. And the nice thing about this is the schematic to wire it up. The way I have it wired here is very, very clearly printed on the back side of the controller. So we'll turn that around just in case it's opposite on the camera. Make sure you guys can see it okay. But you'll have it anyway when you purchase the motor controller. So all in all, a very simple way to build a motor controller that will rotate over 50 pounds and I hope that helps you. Okay, so I have to come clean in this part of the video, and so what I'm doing is I got my Nikon D3300, I've got a Sigma 105 macro lens on, but since I started the video in the morning, I got a flat green paint and painted the turntable because I wanted to eliminate absolutely all of the pixelation when I pull the green screen key. So we'll see if this is going to work in a couple of minutes. And I'm recording at 1080p, 60 frames per second, Nikon D3300, and I'm at f8 at a quarter. Okay guys, so what you're seeing here on the screen is my Camtasia 9 project for this video, and what you're looking at here is the segment where I've actually gotten rid of the green screen, and you see what it looks like. So I can basically slide this background in and out and put in whatever background that I want. So what I'm going to do for you now is show you how I did it. So I'm going to take this file, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to bring it over, I'm going to right click on it, separate the audio and the video, and I'm going to get rid of the audio because what I'm saying right now is going to be the audio for this clip. I'm going to bring this down, and so first thing I want to do is I'm going to get rid of the green effect, and so I'm just going to highlight this, and really what you want to do is come over to Visual Effects and click on Remove a Color, and just drag Remove a Color down. And so from there, ideally what we want to do is get rid of all this green so that we can see whatever's in the background showing through. And so the way to do that is to click on your color palette, select the eyedropper, and then, you know, come over to the side somewhere here and just pick the color of green. And bang, that's pretty good. This is the beauty of Camtasia 9, is that, you know, 15-20 years ago doing green screen, it was a real pain to do it, and now it's almost one color, one click. It's not perfect. You can see a little bit of the green down there, but we have some other options in the palette here that we can use to correct that. So the first thing that I like to do is just kind of scrub back and forth and find a spot like right there where we're still seeing a bit of the green, and see if we can get rid of it just by making some tolerance adjustments. So we're at 10, I go to 11, and that gets rid of a little bit of it there. So on our softness, we're at 10, and that's not really helping us there. It's making it worse. So we'll leave the softness at 10, and let's take the tolerance to 12. And again, that pretty much clears it out, which is great. So now what we want to do is just kind of scrub back and forth. It's looking pretty good, to be honest with you. And so now I can take whatever color I want. So in this case, I'll just copy this JPEG, slide it over, bring it down underneath. And now when I scrub back and forth, you're pretty much seeing identical to what I had in the previous section. The only difference is I've shown you how to do it. So that's about as straightforward, that's about as easy as a key you're going to get. And when I say key, I mean, so you're keying out the green color. And there's a lot of programs you can use, like Adobe After Effects, Final Cut Pro, that might do you know, a little bit better job if you want to fine tune it or whatever. But for YouTube videos and being able to do green screen and just key the color out fairly quickly, Camtasia Studio does a pretty good job, and this is Camtasia 9. So yeah, I mean, check it out. If it's something you think that you can benefit from, you know, play around with the green screen, make some adjustments, and really you're just limited by your imagination as how far you can go with this. Okay, so let's move on. Okay guys, that's it for this one. I want to thank you. I hope you found the video interesting. I want to give a shout out to the good folks at Think Tank Photo. They've been a great supporter of my channel for the last number of years. It's getting close to Christmas, guys. Think Tank always has a lot of great sales on their website. If you click the link that I'll put in the description for you, you can probably get some free stuff from whatever you're going to purchase from Think Tank. Yes, I will get a couple of points for it myself, but that'll just help me make more videos like this one. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe and like the channel. And for heaven's sake, if you have any questions, there's no such thing as a dumb question. If you see something you're not sure about in the video, just shoot me an email, connect in. I'll be happy to respond to you. And, you know, like I said earlier, this technique it's really only limited by your imagination, so go for it. All right, take care. We'll see you next time.